These individuals that raise the steers, they have to put a lot of time and effort into it. It's like having a job. It is their first job in many respects, and they have to take on a great deal of responsibility. And you see the ones that put in the time do well year in, year out, and it really pays dividends for them.
And it's amazing to watch these children and the commitment and dedication and discipline it takes for them to really 24/7, 365 days a year, care for these animals and ultimately bring them to the show and really display the talents and the commitment that they've exhibited throughout their year.
And many times these kids come here year after year and don't get to the sale. So when they do get there, it's a tremendous payoff from all those hours, from all those days, from slopping the stalls, from doing all those things that they've done, including mom and dad, of course. And that's where the energy in the room comes from. And so to be a part of that is just tremendous.
Next on The American Rancher, we bring you the Sale of Champions with the Fort Worth Stock Show Syndicate. Hi, and welcome to today's show. It is stock show season, and all across the country, youth by the thousands will gather over the next several weeks to show their livestock and compete for the opportunity to sell them at auction. At the Southwestern Exposition in Fort Worth, the Stock Show Syndicate is a key organization in this process. We'll talk again with members of the group today and learn more about the role they play in the grand event called the Sale of Champions. We'll also visit with some young people, some who are getting ready for the Fort Worth Stock Show, and one in particular who knows the experience quite fully. This is The American Rancher. I'm Pam Minnick. We've got a great show for you, so stay tuned. Welcome back to The American Rancher. For more than 30 years, the Fort Worth Stock Show Syndicate has been a focused and dedicated organization. It was founded by local businessmen who wanted to provide educational means and vocational opportunity to agricultural youth. For more than 30 years, the Fort Worth Stock Show Syndicate has been about the business of supporting youth in agriculture. It's been a great time, a great work, and a great story of support of the city's grandest tradition. The Fort Worth Stock Show Syndicate is the largest single financial supporter of the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo. Contributions have steadily grown, as well as the number of livestock projects the organization has purchased through the years. This year's Fort Worth Stock Show Syndicate Chairman is Larry Anfin.
Well, one thing you learn that people in Fort Worth and the surrounding area are very generous. I mean, we raise a lot of money. You have to work at it, but people are willing to help, and it makes it very good. We have 130 plus members. We've got 12 new members this year, and everybody pitches in, they help. My grandfather was actually, when they first formed the group, my dad was in the organization, so I was the first third generation member of the Fort Worth Stock Show Syndicate. So yeah, it was a pretty prestigious deal for me and a big honor too.
Former Fort Worth Stock Show General Manager and President Bob Watt has witnessed the growth of the syndicate from the beginning.
Well, the syndicate got started back in the early 1980s, really by a gentleman by the name of Don Weeks. Don brought about a dozen people out here with him at that stock show and just made a real hand in buying steers, some support that we've never had before. And so he jumped in, and it's just mushroomed since they kicked it off.
The Fort Worth Sale of Champions is to the stock show world what the World Series is to baseball, what the Super Bowl is to football, what the Masters is to golf. The grand champion takes home the biggest purse at the granddaddy of them all, the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo. Trey Gordon continues to serve as syndicate vice chairman and oversees membership duties.
There are over 100 members in the Stock Show Syndicate, and we are like a football team. We all have assignments that we carry out. Sometimes it's confusing as to who's doing what, but everything gets done. Everything gets done in a timely fashion to help these kids. And it's really amazing what we're able to accomplish. This is a year-round organization. We put forth a lot of effort into this to make this a great event for the kids because they've worked year-round. We're going to work year-round to make sure they're taken care of.
With over 400 gracious sponsors who recognize the value of their mission, the Stock Show Syndicate has raised more than $35 million for the youth exhibitors of the Fort Worth Stock Show through the years. Their mission is to provide a means for agricultural youth to further themselves through both education and vocational opportunities.
I think it gives these kids a greater responsibility than they would normally have, and caring for these animals and then bringing them to the show and seeing actually being compensated for their hard work. And that's really what our job is to support the stock show and putting on the best sale that we can to reward these kids for all their hard work.
The Fort Worth Stock Show Syndicate is a prime example of business people coming together to invest in youth and agriculture. It is fascinating to witness.
The Fort Worth Stock Show Syndicate has raised over $35 million, all of which, 100% of those proceeds go to the children in the annual Sale of Champions. I think that the community, and particularly the members of the Stock Show Syndicate and its sponsorship and buyers, are really all focused on the education system and really the values that a lot of these children embody through their commitment and discipline of raising these projects and ultimately selling them at the Sale of Champions in order to raise money for their education.
Contributions have steadily grown, as well as the number of livestock projects the organization has purchased through the years. In 2012, another record was set as syndicate members brought forth just over $2.9 million for the Junior Livestock Auction. Each year, agricultural youth are rewarded at the Fort Worth Stock Show for their hard work and dedication. The financial support they receive is a solid start to their future as agricultural leaders of tomorrow.
With agriculture being such a cornerstone industry in our state, and in our country for that matter, these kids certainly learn the value of the time, energy, and effort they have to put into this business. And many times they see in their families do this tiring work with very little in return. So with that being said, for us to offer these kids the ability to continue their education, to learn about the business aspect of the farming and ranching business, and then of course is the science in the farming and ranching business, it's important that they have the ability to go to college and learn this stuff. So for us to be able to provide that for them and help defray some of those costs, it's really neat to be a part of.
I think these kids crave it. I think they enjoy it and they crave it. It's just, it's something that's in you. It's building their character. It's competitive, and that's great. And I think that's just another element that they're learning, and that they get to put that's in them inherently. And I know they're enjoying it. I get to see it every day. You see it every sale. You see it every Sale of Champions. Look at their faces. Look at the families' faces. Look at the sponsor faces. It touches everybody. It touches all of us. It touches the community. I mean, it's fantastic. We're so thrilled to be involved.
Cattleman's Steakhouse has been a supporter of the Fort Worth Stock Show for generations.
The city the size of Fort Worth and in most parts of the country doesn't have the background that we have in the livestock business. And the amount of time that our leaders and everyday walk of life people in the syndicate contribute to this effort is amazing.
I mean, anybody that has a dedication to get up before the sun comes up to feed whatever animal they're raising, and then to go to school and come back and do the same thing, and day in, day out, it's, yes, of course, we're going to learn something.
The Fort Worth Stock Show Syndicate always finds room for new members in the organization, and always will. Businessmen of all backgrounds identify with supporting youth in agriculture for a number of reasons. The ideas of rewarding hard work and developing character in young people, and doing it within the arena of the rich livestock heritage in Texas, well, it makes for a special type of involvement.
I have a ranch down in South Texas. I think it's important to hold on to our heritage, and I think Fort Worth does a great job of it. And so anything we can do to support those kids and that lifestyle, you know, I'm personally all for it. I'm a rookie. You have to do a lot of extra work, and you're a big part of the setup of all the parties and all the meetings and that kind of stuff. And there's a great group of guys there in the syndicate, and I'm really honored to be part of it.
Every year I enjoy going backstage, as we call it, before each of the children enter the arena and looking at their faces. There's a lot of excitement, there's a lot of apprehension, but once they're in that arena, they know that the members of the Fort Worth Stock Show Syndicate are going to be there to make their day.
I think my grandfather purchased 5 grain champions, and my mom purchased one when she was overseeing our company, so we bought a few animals out there.
Over the years, the Fort Worth Stock Show Syndicate has grown into something quite special. It's brought opportunity and support to many through businesses and individuals who invest in young people. When we return, we'll learn more about the Sale of Champions. You're watching The American Rancher. Stay tuned. Welcome back to The American Rancher. The Sale of Champions is one of our favorite stories. Each year, it's grown-ups coming together, investing in our agricultural youth. Here's Larry Anfin, chairman of the Fort Worth Stock Show Syndicate, with more on our story, The Sale of Champions.
The sponsors are great, and you know, they do it to help the kids. They're not doing it to advertise their companies. It's not a marketing ploy. I mean, it's the cool thing is that they're doing it to help the youth, and it's great. And we have over 400 sponsors that buy, you know, that contribute to the sale, and it's pretty neat.
Education has always been a fundamental goal of the Fort Worth Stock Show Syndicate. Through the purchase of Junior Livestock Auction projects, they have provided millions of dollars in funds to Texas youth. In most cases, these funds are a critical element in their plans and pursuit of a college education. The James M. Jim Bob Norman Scholarship Fund was established in 1984 by the syndicate as a permanent endowment in memory of Jim Bob Norman, who was chairman of the syndicate at the time of his death. The fund currently grants 6 $10,000 scholarships each year to Texas high school students. The scholars must attend a Texas institution in pursuit of a 4-year bachelor degree in an agricultural or life sciences curriculum. The Ladies on the Lamb Group began in 2000 and steadily worked to provide active buyer support for the Stock Show lambs. These ladies have become a large supporter of the Junior Livestock Auction. Charmaine Poteet is a member of this distinguished group, which is very passionate about supporting agricultural youth.
Kids get a lot out of this whole process, whether they place or not. They've gone through the process. They've persevered. They've put in, like I said, sweat equity into this whole process. I mean, it takes a lot out of these kids. It's a big commitment for them. So whether they place or not, I think they walk away with so many life skills, whether they realize it or not. They may realize it 20 years from now. But they walk away with skills that I don't think they could learn any other way. I'm a big proponent of being involved in athletics and different things through school. But I don't think anything can really compare with raising an animal and caring for it and showing it and the lessons that you learn through that.
It's well said that the stock show is more about raising kids than animals. Young people enter the competition sometimes for several years before placing high enough to qualify for the sale of their project. In 2012, Quattro Shower of Beeville, Texas, won grand champion at Fort Worth with his Charolais cross steer, Spider Monkey.
That was my 7th year at Fort Worth. I had shown him at like prospect shows and stuff during the summer, but he came, I was not expecting to win by any means. I knew he was pretty good, but I've been in here at Fort Worth and seen what's always here and how tough it is, and always come trying to win, but you never come expecting to win. And it was an exciting experience that is pretty much a dream come true, what I've always wanted. I think you learn a lot of responsibility from having to get in and take care of it. You're taking care of something besides yourself. And also, you kind of learn to be a gracious loser or a gracious winner at the same time, because you're not always going to win, you're not always going to lose.
Quattro's winnings have catapulted him into college at Texas A&M, where he has a great start as an animal science major.
I'm thinking about staying and getting my master's, or maybe even a doctorate. I got a couple years, I guess, till I have to decide. And if we don't keep implementing younger people into doing it, we're going to eventually be hurting one day. And I think it's extremely important for younger kids to get involved in agriculture so we don't run into that problem. I truly appreciate what the syndicate has done and will continue to do for the Fort Worth Stock Show and for exhibitors such as myself.
All around Texas and the adjoining states, young people are getting prepared for the Fort Worth Stock Show. Outside Weatherford, Texas, Jim Martin hosts a barn facility for young exhibitors to keep their steer projects.
He's a shorthorn. His name is Red. You have to come most of the time and work with them, and it takes quite a bit of time to get them all settled in and better.
He'll be an AOB is what I'm taking over there. He's solid black. Right now we're working on make sure that he's going to get in the right weight class, and you want him in class 9 or 10. That's usually the one that the winning class steer comes out of.
Well, my mom said, would you like to show steers because I want to be a vet when I grow up? He's a Red Angus, and it takes a lot of time because you have to get used to your steer and you can't be scared of them.
Yes, sir, I have a steer. He's a Maine, and I'm bringing him to Fort Worth. Well, I wash him every day when I come here, and then I walk him, I feed him, and I work with his feet.
In my opinion, the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo is the most important event we have in Fort Worth. And I think it's significant that it occurs in January of each year. It allows us to look back at our roots, our heritage, before we move forward into a new year. And I think that's very important for all of us in Fort Worth.
Coming this February 9th, the Fort Worth Stock Show Syndicate again brings the Sale of Champions to national television through RFD TV. Watch the excitement of community leaders and junior livestock raisers coming together in an old-fashioned, well-staked auction that rewards the hard work and dedication of young people in agriculture. This Sale of Champions telecast is sponsored by Benny Keith, Cattleman Steakhouse, D&M Auto Leasing, Cowboys and Indians Magazine, and Idea Ranch Promotions.
The money that I spent on that steer enabled that young man to go to college and major in agriculture. And I'll tell you, from that point forward, I wasn't just a buyer, I was a committed buyer.
It's building everything in our kids that we want. It's building character, building strength. It's putting these goals into these kids. It is all about our children and all about the future.
It's more than raising livestock. It's an outstanding educational program to teach these youngsters how to grow up and be responsible, productive adults.
Mark your calendars for February 9th as the Fort Worth Stock Show Syndicate brings you the Sale of Champions. This fantastic junior livestock auction will be broadcast live and nationwide on RFD TV. It's gonna be great. Thanks to the Fort Worth Stock Show Syndicate for the great program they are carrying on in support of youth in agriculture. That's all the time we have. To find out more about us, visit our website, theamericanrancher.com, or like us on Facebook. For everyone here at The American Rancher, I'm Pam Minnick. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.